What's up, guys? This is Boxing Guru, and I'm back with another great video. Don't duck me, son. Don't duck me, son. I'm going to break this shit down right now, and I'm going to give you guys the weaknesses of each fighter and their strengths and what they need to do to win on that night. Now, I'm going to keep it 100% real and uncut. Danny Garcia, he's viewed as a cherry picker. People think he's been cherry picking, but let's keep it real. I mean, you guys know I think Keith Thurman's going to pull it off by a close margin. I don't think he can knock out Danny Garcia. But at the same time, Keith Thurman, I wouldn't call it cherry picking or anything. You could call it cherry picking, call it what you want, But the man's been fighting over the hill Hispanic fighters his whole career. He just stepped it up against Showtime Sean Porter, and I thought that fight was very close. My first thought, like when I was watching the fight live, I thought Sean Porter edged him in that fight. I thought Sean Porter won that fight. But I went back and I seen it. I reviewed the tape. All things considered, I think Keith Thurman won by 1 point. I think Keith Thurman edged him just a little bit because he landed the most clean, effective punches. He was the most precise fighter, and he was a ring general on that night. He used ring generalship quite good. When Sean Porter caught him with a good body shot, he was able to recover and not get dropped. He moved out the way. That's smart. That's smart thinking. He might. If I was him, I would use that against Danny Garcia because we know Danny Garcia is a very strong power puncher, and I think they're going to exploit Keith Thurman's weakness in the body in that fight. I think they're going to focus on the body early on, chop him up, hurt him, and then go to the head. You feel me? And I think Keith Thurman needs to work on his footwork, definitely do some abs or something to improve his body health. Keith Thurman is a very smart and technical fighter. I feel like he has a better boxing mind than Danny Garcia. I think he's more intelligent than Danny Garcia. But let's not belittle Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is also a smart fighter. He was able to figure out a Lucas Matisse. Lucas Matisse is no knockover. He's better than Luis Collazo. He's better than, well, I'm not gonna say he's better than Sean Porter, but I think him and Sean Porter will be a great fight. I couldn't say who would win right now, but I think Lucas Matisse is one of the most credible fighters on Danny Garcia's record. As far as youth, as far as strength, and as far as being able to actually beat Lucas Matisse in that present time, because Danny Garcia fought Eric Morales. You could say Eric Morales is more credible than Danny Garcia as far as resume-wise, but Eric Morales was over the hill. Come on, let's be honest here. Eric Morales was way past his prime. Lucas Matisse was strong. Yeah, he wasn't as accomplished as Eric Morales, but Lucas Matisse was a live dog. He was hungry. He was tearing up the whole division. He was an animal at that division. He was feared. And Danny Garcia figured him out and beat his ass. He got him out of there, beat his ass. Danny Garcia, he's a very, very strong, credible fighter. He'll probably be the best name on Keith Thurman's record as of now when they fight. These guys are so evenly matched. They're so both of them are their biggest threat to each other, really. And this fight is a close fight. Keith Thurman, I think he just needs to worry about the body attacks and get a good training camp in. Get your reflexes up. He's been out the ring for a while. He needs some really good sparring, man, because he's going into this fight without a tune-up fight. So he needs some really, really top elite sparring. Maybe call a Sean Porter. We know that friends may call him over and get him to be a sparring partner to emulate a little bit of Danny Garcia's style. Because believe it or not, I see little pages from Danny Garcia's book, if I may. I see his hooks, his pressure. It's similar to Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a little bit of a less pressure type of fighter, but he's more of a blunt force type of fighter. His punches are more effective. Sean Porter is just a pressure and so athletic fighter, but I think it will help Keith Thurman to put him in his training camp, to help him in sparring, and to get him ready for Danny Garcia. That's his only option at this point, since he has no option to get a tune-up fight in like Danny Garcia just did. Keith Thurman's game plan at fight night, I think he should box him the first couple of rounds, win the first 3 or 4 rounds, and Danny Garcia is going to try to either come strong early or come strong in the middle of the fight, because the animosity between these two is blowing right through the roof, man. It's incredible. So Keith Thurman needs to just be aware of Danny Garcia's anger and his willingness to wanting to take him out of there, because he wants to knock out Keith Thurman because all the shit talking. So he needs to be well aware of and be careful, be careful, because I think Danny Garcia hits harder, regardless of what people say of what Robert Guerrero, because I know a lot of fans are going to say, oh, Robert Guerrero said Keith Thurman hits harder than Danny Garcia and this and that. That's all bullshit. You gotta put things in perspective, because look, if you look at the both of the fights, to me I felt like Robert Guerrero gave more respect to Keith Thurman than Danny Garcia. Why? Because I feel like he respected Keith Thurman more because there was less shit talking, and with Danny Garcia, his father and Robert Guerrero's father were going at it. So, there's a bit of a rivalry between them. So I guess he was a little butthurt because of that. And he tried to discredit him by saying Keith Thurman hits harder. But I think that's false. I think Danny Garcia hits harder. I think Keith Thurman hasn't showed his power in the elite level fights. If you look at the Sean Porter fight, he didn't drop Sean Porter. He hurt him, yeah, but he didn't drop him. He's not able to use his power against these A-level fighters. And Danny Garcia is. And, Lucas Matisse fight should tell it all. It should be a big telltale sign that Danny Garcia does have a little bit more power than Keith Thurman, and he's able to use it against these elite fighters. And maybe it's the fact that Keith Thurman, he's a little bit fearful of getting hurt with a body shot. Maybe that's why he doesn't really stay in the pocket as much and stand on his feet and actually throw power punches when he's against an elite fighter, and when he's against a lower level fighter than him. He sits there in the pocket and he tries to get them out of there because he's more confident. But whatever the case may be, he won't do that against Danny Garcia because he knows Danny Garcia can crack too. So his power won't seem greater in this fight. I think Danny Garcia will be the aggressor. So like I said, I think Keith Thurman needs to box him early. Definitely land some good counter punches, and he should be the counter puncher. He should be boxing him more rather than chasing him. He should do that, and towards the end of the fight, try to capitalize on that. See if he can get him out. I'm not saying he will get him out of there, but if he does have him hurt, definitely going for the kill. And yeah, as far as that goes, I think Keith Thurman should box early, be wary of the body punching, should get good sparring, get his reflexes up, get the ring rust out in sparring, and stay sharp on that night, man. Just stay sharp, box, like I said, win the rounds. Now, as far as Danny Garcia, what he needs to do to win, and his weaknesses and his strengths. People don't give credit to Danny Garcia. They don't realize he's not just a power puncher. He actually thinks in there. He's smart. He's very patient, and he sets up his hooks pretty good. And his hooks are just brutal, man. They're brutal. They're vicious, like I said. So what I think Danny Garcia needs to do, he needs to apply pressure in the early rounds and impose his will and show him he's the better man. He's the stronger man. He needs to focus during training camp. Don't let all the outside stuff get in his head. Stay focused. Get good sparring. I don't know who he spars, but I would assume he should get somebody who's athletic and slick to emulate Keith Thurman's style. He's already up to par with his boxing. He doesn't have ring rust. He was able to get a tune-up fight. So he might have a little bit of more chance than Keith Thurman as far as ring rust and all that. But like I said, he needs to apply his pressure in the early rounds. Definitely start chopping up the body. Using feints like you're gonna throw a hook. Feint with upper body. Make his hands go up, go down to the body. Just vicious attacks to the body early rounds. Slow him down. Stay focused. Don't let Keith Thurman get in your head during the fight, because he will do that. He'll land a punch and start mocking him or doing silly gestures to get in his head. Don't let the guy get in your head, and if he does get in your head, and Danny Garcia, you start throwing wild hooks and stuff, you'll get counterpunched all night, and there'll be a bad fight for you. So just stay focused during the fight. This is your fight. This is your night. You have to be focused to win this fight. And then towards the middle rounds, get good conditioning in. Don't gas out, because if you gas out, Keith Thurman will exploit that. Apply pressure. Like I said, we've seen Keith Thurman doesn't do good with pressure. Keith Thurman does not do good with pressure. He starts, just holding. He starts backing up a lot, and he's not good on the ropes. So I think he needs to take this fight to the ropes, put him on the ropes, apply that pressure towards the middle round some more. And, once you have the fight, you won the fight, the last 10 or 12 rounds, I think you should just start boxing him a little bit more, stay away from him. Because, we know that since you apply pressure, he might catch a second win or something, and he might win those rounds and drop you a couple of times if he can, if his power is there that night. But Danny Garcia, I can't say much about him. I can just say he needs to apply pressure to the body, throw hooks to the body and set up that overhand right that he was working on with Samuel Vargas. That overhand right is a little bit underrated. They talk about his left hook, but that overhand right's vicious as well. And he needs to set that up with a jab and straight to the body all night. Jab straight to the body, and when you put him on the ropes, go to the body. Kind of similar to what Canelo did to Amir Khan and what he did to Kirkland, similar like that. He needs to focus on that. Try to set that up towards the middle of the round. And if he lands it and if he hurts Keith Thurman, stay on him, and finish the fight. Because if you let Keith Thurman recuperate, Keith Thurman, he's good at adjusting and he'll find a way to win that fight. So do not let him recover. Like I said, pressure. That's the key for you, Danny Garcia. That's the key for you to win. I'm giving you the keys, now take them. Keith Thurman, you take your keys, and we're going to see who comes out best on that night. This is Boxing Guru. Please take the time to subscribe. I can't wait for this fucking fight, and I'm pretty sure you guys can't either. Out.